Because once you are successful, or people can tell you're destined for success, it's not a debate. The women around you will begin to multiply. Can I be honest? Am I allowed to tell you the truth about this particular situation? My goodness, man. I'm not a regular viewer of DJ Vlad. I heard a couple of interviews. Didn't Kevin Samuels interview on Vlad as well? Jeannie Mai might be a lot more conniving and evil than many, many people might have realized. Welcome to It's Brewing. My name is Chishi Zed. All right, guys, we're about to get into some topics here. You know, somebody recently asked me, they were like, yo, is it the coffee pod or what's brewing? And at that moment, I realized that I need to do a better job of making sure people can distinguish between the two. What's brewing is a segment where I do like longer form content and I address several topics, some of them that I really wouldn't regularly address. All right, so Shaq. Listen, if you are a man right now who has a good woman, and not only that, if you're a man right now who has a woman who, when she met you, you weren't at your peak earning potential. When she met you, you were still ascending. She was willing to build with you. Then there's some pride in that. There's some pride you need to take in that, because what this headline tells me from Shaq's ex-wife is this is every successful man's worst nightmare when it comes to dating and relationships. All right, so the headline reads, Shawnee Henderson says she doesn't know if she ever loved Shaq. I was in love with the idea of building a family together. She's looked back at their marriage and said, I don't even know if I really ever loved him. I think I was in love with the idea of like the type of family we would build, but I wasn't really in love with him. Now, people try to flip this all types of ways. Most people are like, yo, why would you even share this out here in public? People try to flip this all types of ways. Why do I say that this right here is a nightmare? Because once you are successful, or people can tell you're destined for success, it's not a debate. The women around you will begin to multiply. This is before you've settled down with one. And I've seen this with other successful men, is they struggle with knowing whether the person who they're with would love them, would be attracted to them if they didn't have the money. Now, there are people who are like, it's always about money. No, it's not. Because there are people who met their significant other before their rise to their career they're in today. Maybe they were still in college. Maybe they were in graduate school. Whatever it was, you were climbing, and it wasn't a guarantee that you were going to be successful. She took a bet versus a lot of rich men. You don't realize that these guys, they'll lay in bed next to a woman. Sometimes they'll lay in bed next to a woman who they call their wife, and they've decided or accepted the fact that if I didn't have what I have today, the millions of dollars I have, this woman would not be here with me. She would leave with the money. You have, if you're not in that position, right, you have something a lot of wealthy men really don't in that case. Something they value. You hear it a lot in songs, in rap songs. You know, you hear a lot of guys wonder, hey, would you still love me if I didn't have what I have right now? It messes with your mind. But as a man who's invested in a woman, and you've heard Shaq say things like he wishes things played out differently with his wife, as a man, to hear the confirmation of, you know, I never really even loved that man. That must be a challenging and painful thing to go through. What do you guys think? Comment down below. I'm very curious. Very curious. So again, let's read this headline. It says, Shawnee Henderson says she doesn't know if she ever loved Shaq. I was in love with the idea of building a life together. A life together. Let's check out some comments here, see what people have to say. First comment here says, meanwhile, he said he regrets ruining his family. Yeah, we know he talked about cheating a lot on her, and people have tried to flip and say, well, you know, it's because everything she went through. No, she's keeping it real. This person says this is sad. Another person here says having 6 kids with someone who you don't love is diabolical. Here's somebody else who says she loved the stability and the lifestyle he provided. Probably over time grew to not love him as much due to the way he treated her. Maybe, but I don't think so. I think there are a lot of chicks out here who fantasize about dating athletes, actors, men who are in the spotlight, and they haven't yet just accepted the reality that they're just things you're going to deal with those men that won't be as much of a problem with the regular dude, right? The way these groupies throw themselves, you guys see these young NBA players getting women pregnant left and right. These guys are walking licks, temptation coming at them from all angles. Does that justify it? No. But oftentimes, bro, these men aren't trying to pray those women away and God, please help me resist. No, they're trying their best, and their best is busting cheeks. Oops. Only with the strength of God, and I truly believe that, only with the strength of God can you withstand temptation, sexual temptation, in my opinion, my beliefs, in those situations. And you know what? You might even fall, even at that, a couple of times. In a marriage, it's warfare. You know what I mean? To protect what you have, it's warfare. And a lot of guys out here lack discipline, and these chicks don't realize that. They get with them. Oh my gosh, she couldn't stop cheating. Oh, I didn't see it coming. How? How did you not see it coming? But yeah, I thought this was crazy. I thought this was an interesting topic. Somebody else here says, if you didn't love him, why did you cry when he cheated? Well, you know, I'm sure they still had a connection. It makes sense. Somebody else here says, now, sis, why would you tell us that you never loved him? Yeah, just be glad that you're not a celebrity, bro. You know, just be glad that your ex-wife isn't currently writing a tell-all book to expose how she truly never loved you. Here's another comment that says, once you've experienced a love that surpasses what you encompass the idea of love to be, you question if you ever were in love or just loved and tolerated somebody. I've been there. Fair point. Fair point. Here's another chick that says she don't love her new man either. Somebody else here says have 20 kids by a man you don't even love. Girl math. Somebody else here says give Shaq his last name back then. Ooh. That's a good point. Then why don't you give the man his last name back? Moving on. Of course, I'm curious to know what you guys think of that topic here. We're moving on, and we're going to talk about this. Let me see here. Drake and Kendrick Lamar rap battle. All right. And my question is this. Can I be honest with you guys? I'm just going to keep it real. Can I be honest? Am I allowed to tell you the truth about this particular situation? My goodness, man. I remember trying to convince people in the past. The first time I heard a song by Kendrick Lamar was a song he released 12 years ago. And I'm 30 now. At that time, I was 18. I just graduated from high school. And I went to boarding school for 4 years. I was back with my parents. And I remember listening to this song because at that point, you guys, you guys know I talk about rap and you know how I avoid listening to toxic music and how it's difficult to find good music that isn't too toxic and everybody must have their own standard and I try to find mine, yada yada. But the song that I stumbled upon was in a time when I cut out all toxic music and I stumbled on this guy. Here, it played a little bit, but I won't be allowed to play it on here. We'll probably get like some type of a copyright. I'm getting somewhere with this, guys, and I'm approaching this from a very personal place when it comes to this rap beef. It was a song titled "His Pain," and the crazy thing is that it wasn't by Kendrick; it was featuring Kendrick Lamar. He rapped and did most of the vocals in the majority of this song, right? Go listen to this song. The raw emotion, the realness. I immediately said, wow, this man right here is a true lyricist. And I was obsessed ever since. I started looking for other songs, right? I stumbled on albums like Overly Dedicated, and I played those out. And then I, moved over to the Section 80 album. And then by that time, of course, I'm trying to think if by that time, Good Kid, Mad City, when I was around 18 years old, was also very popular. And I remember thinking to myself, this guy is going to be probably one of the greatest rappers of our generation. But listen, my point that I'm trying to get to here, guys, is I remember showing people Kendrick Lamar and me having to convince and fight with them and be like, yo, listen to this. I remember one friend in particular told me he didn't like him because he listened to real hip hop. And in about like 2 weeks or so, he knew one of Kendrick's songs word for word. We still laugh about it to this day. Till this day. So after that, you had To Pimp a Butterfly, and then you had the Untitled and Unmastered album that came after that. Then you had Damn. But after Damn, there was this kind of switch in the way that Kendrick, first of all, he took a long break from music, but there was a switch in the way that his delivery, right? Even his voice, and the way that he would deliver the raps on the tracks that I didn't really necessarily like as much. Now, I don't know if this was because I liked his older stuff, but he changed something about himself. And that's okay, because every artist change, right? They all change. But I always knew that, man, Kendrick is a problem. And not only that, Kendrick is real. But let's fast forward to 2024. My money wasn't on Kendrick, bro. I thought, based on what I assumed this battle was going to turn into, which was a battle of hits, I thought Drake was going to take the win in this battle. But not only did he deliver his message across, he changed Drake's image in front of the whole world. Now, I don't know if he ruined Drake's image, but there's definitely been a switch here in the way someone like even myself views Drake. Right off the bat, as somebody who has spoken in the past a lot about entertaining music that's positive and isn't toxic, you'd think that my first thought would be like, okay, my money's on Kendrick. It really wasn't. I thought, well, if we're going to talk about hits here and who I think is going to make the best hit out of the two and who has the most hits, I thought Drake was going to pull through. But no, I naively forgot the man who I first listened to back in 2012 at 18 years old was a monster when it came to his rap and lyricism. Because not only did he out-rap Drake, but I actually think that Kendrick, when it comes to what society now wants as a whole, when it comes to conversations about people wanting what's real, he could connect more with Black people. He could connect more with his listeners for sure. And all those stunts that Drake was pulling to gain clout in the past, those duck faces he makes in videos, the painting of the nails, trying to be too weird, it just fed to the questions that people have now pertaining to his character, pertaining to him like waiting for chicks to turn 18. And, you know, there's some people who say that he's a legit predator, and, you know, Metro Booming's out here with the BBL Drizzy songs and the whole rap game, revealing him as this like weird creep, and he's presented himself as being strange. It all worked against him, bro. And not to mention, it's easy to believe something like that. And this is a lesson to the wise here. It's easy to believe something like that for sure about somebody whose life's focus has been women, sex, and partying, and chose to pump that type of music out instead of someone like Kendrick, who's given up some of that mainstream attention to talk about things that are more meaningful. Now, when it comes to the topic of Drake being a predator, I think there's some weird stuff about a couple of those things. Now, whether someone can prove that he did something with minors, I mean, that's one thing. But the whole videos I've seen of him like texting young teenagers, and Billy Molly, what's that chick's name? Bobby Millie or something like that. You know, the text conversations when she was like underage. That's weird stuff. Weird stuff. Now, is there proof that there was some sexual stuff going on while they were that young? We don't know. Is that something that I think Drake definitely needs to clear up? Hell yeah. Or else people are just always going to question that. And if it's true, well, what's done in the dark is going to get brought into the light eventually. Here's the other thing that I find very funny about listeners, and as somebody who does content, there's no way anybody will convince me overall that when you look at the artists who are also beefing the Drake right now, Future, Metro Boomin, Rick Ross, name whatever artist, if you think that those guys haven't done some shady shit out here in Hollywood and they're innocent and Drake's the only one who's out here getting caught up in deep dark, then, you know, I can't follow the crowd from that perspective, because the truth is they rap about the same shit. Before all this, they were at the same parties doing the same things. So to me, I don't really put anybody on a pedestal in that regards, right? In that regards, I'm not going to sit here and go, yeah, you know, Drake's doing all this stuff and the rest of them innocent. A few months ago, I was listening to a bunch of oldies, man, and a song came on. I don't know if you guys remember the song with Lil Wayne and Drake and a bunch of other Young Money artists, but it was a song called I Just Want to F Every Girl in the World, or I Wish I Could F Every Girl in the World. I don't remember the exact title. But this guy right here, we did not remember this. Mac Main had a line in that song where he said, in about 3 years, holla at me, Miley Cyrus. I was listening to that track and I paused it. I looked over at the person who, you know, we were listening to it with. I said, yo, that was a wild line. I said, that shit was wild. They're like, what? Take it back. I took it back and we heard it. He says, in about 3 years, holla at me, Miley Cyrus. So I'm assuming at that point, she must have been, what, like 15? And so he's telling a 15-year-old to holla at him when she turns 18. And all I could think of was like, there is no way that would fly today. You would ruin your whole career by saying some shit like that. But anyways, Kendrick has proven that he is the better lyricist. When I think back to the black hippie days, think of J-Rock, Absol, Schoolboy. Looking back, I'm almost embarrassed that I underestimated K-Dot, bro. I'm going to be honest with you. That was my experience listening to this whole thing. It was like, oh my goodness, what? Yo, it's over. It's over. Next thing I wanted to address here is this headline. So guys, this headline was a follow-up to a situation that happened where Vlad commented on the mix of one of Kendrick Lamar's songs. And after commenting on one of those mix, she basically said, stay out of black people's business, or this is black people's business, stay out of it. Now, can I be honest? When I heard her make that statement, I thought it was a bit harsh. And I immediately began to regret that stance of, well, why is she being so harsh? And why is she so sensitive about this topic, when I saw his response, which was him tagging Princeton University and trying to get her in trouble at her job. And the reason why, I'll first talk about the reason why at first I thought, okay, where's this headed? I'm not a regular viewer of DJ Vlad. I heard a couple of interviews. Didn't Kevin Samuels interview on Vlad as well? Let me see. Yeah. And, you know, people say that they don't listen to Vlad, but I know a lot of people tune into that Kevin Samuels interview. I tune into that one. And Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson has some pretty good interviews that I remember with Vlad. But I'm not a regular viewer. And my thought was, well, Vlad comments on multiple topics within hip hop. And I'm not surprised he's chimed in on this particular topic. And he was talking about the mix of the song. And to me, I was like, well, the engineer's in charge of the mix. That wasn't really an attack towards Kendrick, whatever. But then I saw his response and him trying to get her job taken away. I said, oh, dude, this guy, man. And that's when I was like, now you're taking this too far. You're using your power to try and get this woman fired because you didn't like the response. The response was even more harsh than her particular opinion on him giving his opinion. My final stance was that he was wrong in this situation. And so when I read this update that said DJ Vlad makes public apology, which I didn't actually expect, by the way, to Princeton University professor Morgan Jerkins for tagging her employer multiple times during their Twitter exchange, I thought, okay, well, this was the right move. And he commented here and said, after considerable reflection, I would like to apologize to @Morgan Jerkins for tagging her job in my replies during our Twitter exchange last weekend. I believe she was owed that apology, and he definitely pushed things a little bit too far. Let's check out some of these comments, see what the people have to say. First comment here said, DJ Vlad trying to get a black woman fired from her job because he doesn't like what she said is the purest form of white privilege. Somebody else here says, I don't understand our black men's obsession with him. He literally looks like an informant for the feds. Somebody else here says, her reach must have went further than he thought. Somebody else here added, apologizing after attempting to end her career is nasty work. Here's somebody else who says, damage control is crazy when he started to realize his career is now on the line. Another person here added, both parties were wrong, but y'all ain't seeing that though. God bless. Of course, guys, I'm curious to know, what do you guys think of that topic? Comment down below. We are moving on to Tiffany Hadish. Tiffany Hadish here. All right. So this just came out recently. It says, Tiffany Hadish opens up about gaining clarity after quitting alcohol and joysticks. So she's done drinking alcohol and letting men bust her cheeks. Probably a good idea. That's good to hear. She seems like she was kind of heading a bit downhill there for a little bit. So to hear that overall is a good thing. I think Common still dodged a very serious bullet. When I see women like Tiffany Hadish, who made fun of somebody like Monique, for example, for having a man who she allowed to take charge of her life and She said, that could never be me. You guys remember what I said in the last video concerning that. I was like, you see these women's lives crumbling literally before your eyes because they think they can do it all by themselves. And when she did that whole thing of fleeing to the country and going to Israel, she cried about not having a man. They can pretend all they want, but men and women need each other, man. People need relationships. People need each other, and they can pretend, but the truth is always revealed in the end. Moving on. Guys, I really think that Jeannie Mai might be a lot more conniving and evil than many, many people might have realized. This woman is out to destroy Jeezy's life for sure. A true wolf in sheep's clothing, the way she presented herself and the lengths that she's going to claim that she was physically harmed and he put his hands on her, just pulling every expected lie out of the book. And when I say expected, it's the same stuff we usually see with chicks who are trying to set up their men so that they could end up on top when it comes to custody battle and alimony and getting the prenup thrown out, etc. Jeezy recently stated that he believes Jeannie Mai is smearing him because he didn't want another baby. Here they have text messages between the two of them where she's sharing like her day where she's most likely, I'm assuming, ovulating there to get pregnant. And she says, well, tomorrow is when my eggs do what they do. So you got one job, Captain. And of course, she wants him to put a baby inside of her. At that time, it seems like maybe he didn't want to do that. Another text here says, wow, somebody remembers me. I just want to sink into doing life with you again. Been really enjoying it lately. And then she sends another screenshot. Today and 3 more days to bust the cheeks and give me a child. Please, Jeezy, please. I need more. And Jeannie Mai, I mean, this is the chick you really want to watch out for right here. The woman who presents herself like she is different from the rest. The woman who say, yes, yes, yes. I'll submit, but let's be honest. There's a lot that was probably overlooked about her. Her personality, the fact that she kind of opened up about having anger issues. A lot. There's just so much to watch out for out here, man. Let's check out some of these comments. Top comment says, it's kind of terrifying how quickly things can turn ugly between lovers. Right, right. Somebody else here says, so it's a crime to want another baby by your husband? Help me understand. Well, he's saying, you see, and here's the other thing. They're totally against Jeezy because he didn't marry a black woman. It's not necessarily that it's a crime. I think Jeezy's just being upfront and honest with the issues that led up to their divorce. Somebody else who says, all I'm saying is I've never heard shit about Jeezy's personal life till her. Oof. Right. Here's another comment that says, black women stand down. Somebody else who says, black women, this doesn't involve us. So maybe you guys may think this is fair. What do you think of this whole, when a black woman gets into some shit with like a white guy she's dating, black men would say the same thing. Hey, this is not our fight. Hey, guys, back off. Seems like this is just the way it is, right? Somebody else who says, how dare your wife want another baby by you? Yeah, they don't have any mercy for Jeezy. They do not have any mercy for Jeezy here in this comment section. Listen, you can only learn from this man's mistake. I mean, a true wolf in sheep's clothing right here. Listen, guys, that's everything. Of course, I'm curious to know, what do you think? Leave your comments down below. As always, I appreciate you. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.